Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for inviting me here and giving me the chance to speak about what we are trying to achieve with the European Biogas Association. Let me commence with my own person. I'm a farmer from northern Germany with an own on-farm biogas installation, which we built in 1983. And I've been actively promoting biogas for 20 years now within the board of the German Biogas Association, of the board of the German Renewable Energies Association, and since 2009, when we founded EBA, the European Biogas Association, I've been member of the board of this association. That's 10 years ago that we decided that we needed a voice in Brussels at the site of the European Commission to make the voice of renewable gases heard there. And we have been, I think, quite successful by achieving 38 national associations as our members, plus 78 companies and universities and scientists who see that the work that we are doing there is interesting enough to contribute to it. And we even have quite a few members from your country, as you can see on the bottom of this slide. Well, development of biogas, yes, you have to mention Germany, of course, because that's quite a stronghold for biogas. Of course, based mainly on energy crops, which are under quite some dispute at the moment. You can see the growth of the sector. On the right-hand side, this is quite an interesting map that our office have prepared. They compare the number of biogas plants to the number of million inhabitants in that country. I think that's quite an interesting way to relatively look at the numbers of biogas plants. I mentioned the energy crops, but not in all countries is that the case. You can see here that we have within the different countries quite different feedstocks that are being used, making it not very easy to compare it, and sometimes if you want to speak with one European voice, difficult to find this common voice for everybody. Going to the biomethane production, which in my opinion is the future way of getting our gas onto the market, that it's via the gas grid. Astonishingly, not similar to when we tried to get into the electrical grid. We had some resistance with the gas grid. We find that many of the existing gas grid operators realize that within a few years, the fossil gases in their grid will come under scrutiny, and the best way is to turn the gas in their grids into green gas, renewable gas. Again, the map on the right shows quite an interesting thing. It's Sweden. They have, compared to the inhabitants that they have, quite a high number of biomethane plants, and that's why they decided quite early on that they want to go into the usage of biomethane in transport. One of the reasons is that due to geographical problems, they have only very small natural gas grid, mainly in the south and in the eastern coastal parts of the country. So they have to have decentralized gas production, and that has proven quite successful. Speaking of transport, you already heard about that this morning. We have quite a few gas filling stations which have a different number of a different percentage of biomethane in them. There's, I mentioned quite on the right, it's Sweden, who go for 100% renewable gas in their filling stations. The Netherlands do the same. Switzerland and Germany, they have mixed attitudes. There are some 100% CNG filling stations which have 100% biomethane, and there are some, and that's quite a large number, who just use the existing mixture in the gas grid for their filling stations. And on average in Germany, I know that if you go to a CNG filling station, fill up your car with CNG, you have about 20% of renewable gas within there. What is not really shown here is the two growing countries. One is your own, it's only just developing, and the other one is Italy, which have passed a new Renewable Methane Act, which will lead to quite a strong development here. Yes. Speaking of, can we fulfill all the needs of renewable gases? There's always the question of potential. How much renewable gas can we really... Oh, sorry, I didn't press the button. Thank you for helping me in the background there. Yes, thank you. How much renewable gas can we produce? And there we have the, I think, which is very well done study from Ecofis. Now the company is known as Navigant. They did it for the Gas for Climate initiative, and they came up with 98 billion cubic meters of biomethane potential. That's a study. Dealing with the future is always a problem. It's like a weather forecast. You never really know what will happen in the far future. You know what will happen tomorrow. But this is an indication, let's put it that way. And these 98 billion cubic meters, together with the gas that will come from power-to-gas installations, will be representing some 25% of the gas consumption that we have in Europe today. And I think we must all be aware that overall energy consumption, gas consumption as well, have to go down. We all know that we have to really invest in the methods of reducing our consumption, of raising the efficiency of energy. So there's still a long way to go, but I think the perspective is quite good here. And in my opinion, there's only but one target for renewable gases in the gas grid, and there's the magical number of 100%. One other word for this study. I don't know if you can really read the numbers. I think it will be okay if you distribute the slides afterwards so everybody can see it and have a closer look at them.
Yes, thank you.
These are assumptions without the traditional energy crops, which will still play a role somehow in the future, not the dominant role that they are playing in Germany at the moment, but some. Yes, let's come to, good. What we have in Europe as drivers for biomethane especially. And we all know about the Paris Agreement, the 1.5 degree target. Well, it says here well below 2 degrees. It should be 1.5 degrees really. And the Commission has realized that they have to work on that one. So they are working on the gas market design. There's lots of talks and negotiations and studies being done at the moment. We expect that to come through very soon. We have even rumors of a clean industry package. We'll see what will come out of it. We all know that efficiency in the industry has a long way to go, but the industry will be doing a lot and can do a lot about their efficiency if it's economical. That's already an old story, the circular economy, the zero waste economy. I think in this effort, biogas has a central role. What we haven't written is the RED II targets, 30% renewable energy, of which we want to play a significant role, 14% of alternative fuels, and those cars that cannot be electrified, transport media, trains of course, have to be taken into consideration as well. There we think that biomethane has to play an important role because it's the most advanced of the alternative transport fuels. The 1.3% of annual increase in the heating sector is a pretty low number, but that's because everybody realizes that we are hard put to change the heating systems in private homes. They normally last for more than 20 years, so it's really a long-lasting effort. But biomethane can play a significant role here as well, especially for those who have gas heating systems. They just have to choose to buy renewable gas, and they have fulfilled their obligations. We have some obligations there in Germany already. Yes, but if they buy them, then we come to the problem of, well, how do we get biomethane onto the market? So support schemes. That's a very colorful mixture here of different support. Sorry, yeah, thank you for being with me.
She follows.
Quite a few different support schemes that we have. Thing is, I think the kind of support scheme is not really the important thing to be successful. What is important is how they are designed and how they make it interesting for an investor, financially interesting to go into the biogas sector and invest here. Then we're coming to the question that has already been dealt with here, costs. Sometimes I remember it. We have, that's studies again, and of course it's difficult to grasp the real cost. All of those studies mentioned here, they agree on the three factors that we have. It's the investment, it's the operating cost, and the cost of the feedstock. They differentiate by the relation of these costs, but astonishingly, or maybe not astonishingly, they arrive at almost all of them at about the price that is being paid at the moment for renewable methane in the gas grid. Seeing this number, we very soon realized that is about 4 times the price for fossil gas in the gas grid. But don't despair. It's not only the energy price that plays a role with biomethane. There are other things to consider which are really in favor of biomethane. And thanks to the recent study by a French consulting firm Enea, we know that these externalities are well between 55 and 75 euros per megawatt hour, thus reducing the costs, bring down the cost of biomethane to almost the level of fossil gas. I could go into these, on the right side you see the 4 factors they took into consideration. Let me talk a bit more about the farmer's side, being a farmer myself. Of course, with a digestate, we can significantly reduce the costs for fertilizers. But on the farmer's side, biogas production, and I speak for farmers from a country where the vast majority of biogas installations is on-farm installations or installations by 3 or 4 up to 10 farmers where they're united to install biogas. And biogas brought a new, pride to farmers here. We are not only food producers anymore, but we are energy producers as well. We can sell, and Germany has traditionally, most of our biogas production is CHP. We sell our electricity to the grid operator, and we sell our heat to the farmers and neighbors in our village. And that brought us acknowledgement from the people in our village, because they see that what we produce comes directly to them. And we get more and more independent of the big food producers that have developed over the years and have, well, in a way, manipulated prices so that they just pay us, well, enough to survive, but not enough to prosper. So biogas had really an important role here. On the left side, we have another example how to calculate the benefits of biomethane from the Swedish side. I'm not going to go into it. You can read that when you get the slides as well. Well, the key messages, quite a few in my mind. There are quite a few more of them. And that's why I'll be very happy if we can discuss afterwards. And I know we'll have somebody who can translate, so no problem there. We live in interesting times. I know that's didn't Obelix say that sometimes? Yes, I think. There's a lot of things going on in Brussels as well as in the national capitals, because renewables are en vogue and renewable gases have grown very important. We have quite a potential for biogas, which I estimate much higher than what Gas for Climate said. We have to come to a common market. We have a united Europe, and we have common markets for all products. For the biomethane quality in our natural gas grids, it's quite a problem at the moment, but we have introduced the ERGA system. That's a registry that tries to register the renewable quality of gas produced in each country to be able to sell this renewable quality of the gases to whoever wants to buy it. It's the end of my time. I'm getting to the end, as you can see. Well, I already talked about fossil fuels. We very well know that subsidies are always worth a discussion, but we also know that fossil fuels have received subsidies for years, and if we introduce the external costs and discuss them, maybe introduce a CO2 price system. I'm not afraid of the future, but it's important, and that's what we are fighting for in Brussels. We need, and I just cite this sentence here, we need a clear but holistic policy framework for the uptake of renewable gases. Thank you very much.